What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with my NFL preseason power rankings. As always, I'm going to be doing these videos. Hit that subscribe button down below to be entered or giveaway 500 subscribers, and come back every week to see where your favorite team ranks. So let's dive into it. Starting in 32nd, the Arizona Cardinals. Pretty obvious here. The defense has improved a little bit. Kyler, obviously he's out for the first 4 weeks in the season. Can he come back and be a factor? Rich Gannon, no one really looks like he's the guy so far. I mean, who knows? Maybe he's not a motivational speaker. Maybe he is just performance guy. And then James Conner is going to have to be the workhorse back this year. He and Marquise Brown are the two veteran guys on this team that are going to have to step up and make plays if this Cardinals team wants to win games. 31 are the Houston Texans. They drafted Stroud. Obviously, he's expected to be the franchise QB for the foreseeable future. Hired DeMeco Ryans, which is a great hire. I think he's going to turn this franchise around a little bit. Maybe not this year, but in the near future. And, he's obviously a defensive-minded guy. The defense getting Will Anderson as well is going to be his guy that he's going to build and develop. 30, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come in. And obviously their big storyline this offseason, bringing in Baker after Brady retires. And now how is this offense going to look? Baker and Trask were competing for a spot. Obviously Baker won. And now I think this offense can be pretty solid if Baker can perform. Still have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Rachaad White looks good too out of the backfield. And those three weapons can help you out in the long run. So if Baker can perform, I think you're looking at around a 7-8 win ball club. As long as he can perform, that's the thing. Perform. And this defense still is, I'd say, in the top half with all their stars they still have on defense. And, they're in the NFC South. That division's wide open. 29, I have the Tennessee Titans. They made a big splash in free agency getting D-Hop, and they needed another wide receiver after getting rid of A.J. Brown last offseason. Brought in D-Hop to hopefully help Treylon Burks and Ryan Tannehill as well. Will Levis, obviously, is a quarterback, and Malik Willis are all three guys that could see some reps at starting QB this year if Tannehill struggles. And that brings me to the question of, is Mike Vrabel on the hot seat? I don't think he is right now, but if he has another 6-11 season, maybe even worse than that, then I think you might start to talk about him possibly getting fired, and maybe next year is the year that he has to put up or he's gone. 28, the Indianapolis Colts. Shane Steichen, their new head coach, coming over from Eagles, their offensive coordinator, and what does he get to deal with? Anthony Richardson, the rookie, his pretty much prototype quarterback. And, the ceiling is high for Anthony Richardson, probably the highest ceiling out of all these quarterbacks in this draft, but also the biggest bust potential as well. And I just think this is a great system fit, and don't expect Richardson to run away with Rookie of the Year. But I think as the season progresses, you'll start to see those strides that are being made. Jonathan Taylor, he's out 4 weeks, and maybe last year was the last time we saw him in a Colts uniform. Could he get traded? Could they restructure his deal and possibly get him back in a Colts uniform? And I think what you're going to have to look at is the defense for the Colts. AFC South, besides Jaguars, those three teams competing in there could all finish in second place. And if the defense can step up a little bit, possibly get them to 5-6 wins, I think that's a success for the Colts this year. The Bears come in at 27, and Justin Fields obviously is the big factor for the Bears team this year. If he emerges as a top 10 quarterback, not just with his legs, but with his arm as well, I think the Bears could be a scary team next year. I think when they really put it all together. If you want to talk about running the ball, Deontay Foreman or Khalil Herbert could possibly be sharing running back one duties, or even Roshan Johnson as well. And I think this Bears team getting DJ Moore is a huge get for them. Finally get a reliable option out wide for Fields. 26 are the Washington Commanders. And this is my NFC team that I think could make some noise. I think Sam Howell is going to be good this year now that he is officially the starter. The trio, the three-headed monster of Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, and Chris Rodriguez, I think are going to be great for this team. Interchangeable. They're all good at what they do. And their wide receiver core is one of the best, I think, in the league that doesn't get recognized. Scary Terry, Jahan Dotson, and Curtis Samuel. Three great guys to have out wide for your young quarterback. Oh, and not to mention the defense as well. Chase Young, he's back fully healthy. Now, if he can have a great year, then this Commanders defense is going to be back in form. 25 are the Los Angeles Rams. Sean McVay is back, but is Matthew Stafford fully healthy? Cooper Kupp's already out for we don't know when. His hamstring's bugging him, so that could be a lingering injury all year. Getting rid of Jalen Ramsey, obviously shipped him to Miami. So how's the secondary going to do? But once again, it's all going to rely on Stafford if he's healthy for this Rams team to put up a few wins. 24 are the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons have a lot of turnover this year. Getting Pitts back healthy, drafted Bijan in the first round, and he's going to be their franchise running back for a few years. Desmond Ridder, this is his year to really show that he can be a franchise QB. And Drake London as well. I think he will have a huge breakout year. A lot of people are expecting big things for him, being the number one receiver in Atlanta. The Panthers come in here at 23, and they get a new head coach with Frank Wright taking over. And getting the first pick means you got Bryce Young last year. So this team also has another chance to win their division in the first year of adding a lot of new pieces around them, like Thielen and Miles Sanders. And this is a team that you want to not look out for, but I think don't be too shocked if this team's competing with a few weeks left to go in the season in the NFC South, just because of how bad that division is. 22 are the Denver Broncos, and the Broncos have made headlines almost every week, either calling out another coach, Russell Wilson and Peyton feuding. It seems like they're destined for a divorce at this point. Wilson, it's all going to rely on his shoulders. Even if Sean Payton can't fix him, then I think Wilson's just a lost cause. But none of that guaranteed money that they signed him to last offseason takes effect until next year. So if they cut him, just sit him on the bench, they're just wasting money at that point. So they really need Wilson to step it up here for the Broncos' sake and for all their fans as well. The Patriots come in at 21, and this is more or less on the team that I think is going to take a huge step back. I think just because, they're in the AFC East, Dolphins, all those teams you can say are definitely better than the Patriots right now. And Bill Belichick has to make a big splash on the offense. And what did he do? He got Bill O'Brien. So if they can figure out ways to get a few wins here, a few scrappy wins, you might be looking at a 9-8, 8-9 team yet again. The Raiders come in at 20. And Jimmy G is in, Derek Carr is out. Now with Josh McDaniels, they reunite. And Devontae, he's looking to have another career year. But is he going to be a Raider for the foreseeable future after this year? A lot are expected him to kind of lean towards no. And then same with Josh Jacobs. He's in that same boat. They redid his contract this year, got him for one more year, but I don't think he's going to be a Raider after this year. And then they also have Michael Mayer expected to be the number 2, because we know how Jimmy G was with George Kittle, and he always looked for his tight end across the middle. And I think Mayer is going to be a 2.0 version of Kittle. He's younger, quicker, and taller. So expect Mayer to do big things in his rookie year. 19 are the Cleveland Browns. Not much to say here other than Deshaun Watson has to put up. If he doesn't, then this team is going to tank and go downhill. Nick Chubb obviously is going to be one of the best running backs in the league yet again. Obviously now Hunt's gone, so he's going to have to step up into an even bigger role, pass catching, which wasn't what he's known for, but now he's been working on off season. So hopefully he will be able for week 1. 18 are the Saints. Derek Carr steps in, and he's looking to take this team to the promised land and winning the NFC South. If he can do that, put up same numbers he's putting up in Vegas, then I think the Saints team has a really good chance. And if Michael Thomas can finally stay healthy this year, him and Olave on the outside would be very dangerous, and I think it'll be tough to stop. 17 are my Packers. And, the biggest storyline, I guess you can say, besides the Jets this year is Jordan Love finally stepping in to the starting role. And what does he get around him? A young wide receiver core. Watson and Dobbs had some decent years last year. Rookie wide receiver Jaden Reed from Michigan State could come in and be their third guy. And they also added some tight end depth with drafting 2 rookies, and especially Luke Musgrave. He's looked great in college. I think he's going to be a good fit. And then you have the running backs, Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. And Jones re-signed he took less money to come back and be a Packer this year. Dillon on his rookie contract. So these 2 guys could possibly be gone next year. And maybe that's why the Packers were looking for a trade for Jonathan Taylor. Taylor's 24, expecting big money. You could possibly ship both of those guys out for Jonathan Taylor, re-sign him for a 4 or 5 year deal, and that's your star running back for the foreseeable future. 16 are the Giants, and I think this is another team that I think is going to take a huge step back, only in the NFC. Saquon, he's back for one more year, but I think he's gone after. Daniel Jones still hasn't proven it to me that he can be a solidified franchise guy. I'm thinking it's more of a fluke year. And then the wide receivers are still kind of questionable. They did add Darren Waller, but his health remains a concern because he hasn't been healthy in a while. Jalen Hyatt's looked great out wide, though, and he's looked like the reliable option. 15 are the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if Ethan's watching this, he's going to like what I'm going to say. Kenny Pickett, I think, is going to have one of the biggest second year, improvements. I think he can be a top 10 quarterback when it's all said and done at the end of this year. And yes, that's saying a lot from me. And not only in the AFC, but just in the NFL as well. And I think that relies on the hands of George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, Deontay Johnson, and even Darnell Washington when he starts to get some playing time. I think the Steelers are really making great progress for the offense and the foreseeable future because this team even made the playoffs with Big Ben. And in his last year, it was not good. They just missed out last year. And I think they take a step forward, possibly 10-7, 9-8, same record. And I think they squeak in. 14 are the Vikings. And they got a new coordinator. Brian Flores will bring in a much more aggressive approach. Then they let Thielen walk to bring in Jordan Addison, the rookie from USC. And Dalvin Cook obviously left as well. But now Madison gets the running back one expectations. And, when he was running back one and Cook was out, he did not disappoint. So I think this Vikings team won't really miss too much. But I just don't think they're going to go 9-0 again in those one-score games. So I expect them to have a few less losses, kind of around 10-7, 11-6 is where I see this team falling. 13 are the Seahawks. And Geno needs to have a repeat performance to solidify that he is a really good quarterback in this league. Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to help that cause. He's out with Lockett and DK. That three could be a very good combo for this year, and they could all put up very solid numbers. And they also added another rookie running back, Zach Charbonnet. And now, after Walker was a rookie last year and dominated, bring in Charbonnet, another rookie that loves to run through the tackles. And these two guys could be an absolute powerhouse running the ball. Dolphins come in at 12. Tua stays healthy. That's the biggest concern for this team. And I guess Jalen Ramsey, when is he going to be back as well? But if Tua stays healthy, this team for me is a playoff team, no doubt about it. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, that's all you need to know. Those two guys are top 10 receivers in this league right now. And, if they have a good quarterback throwing them the ball, then there's a really good chance this team wins games. 11 are the Detroit Lions. Besides the New York Jets, this team is getting the most hype in the offseason. Young team. They brought in another rookie, Sam Laporta, tight end. Oh, and also rookie Jahmyr Gibbs, who is expected to do big things in year one alongside David Montgomery. The only thing for me is history. They haven't won an NFC North title since 1993, and this is 2023. So that's 30 years if they can win it this year. So I'm not high on them to officially win the division, but they are one of the favorites to win the division just with all that they have. The defense looks great. See, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson brought him in. And if they can figure out how to win games under 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter and put people away, then this Lions team will be a playoff team. 10 are those New York Jets that I was talking about. Obviously, they were the big winners of the offseason. Not only did they get one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now in Aaron Rodgers from the Packers, they also added Dalvin Cook. Yes, Dalvin Cook and Aaron Rodgers are on the same team after being division rivals a year ago. And they also have a guy named Breece Hall that's coming back from ACL surgery. So if he can get healthy, those guys play how they've normally played, and having Garrett Wilson solidify himself last year as top 15, 10 receiver in the league, I think this Jets team is destined for the playoffs. And don't forget that this defense is legit too. They're a top 5 defense. So the AFC East is going to be an absolute bloodbath, and whoever gets out on top of that one, I think you got to give them at least an extra win or two just because of how tough they fought. 9 are the Baltimore Ravens. I love this team coming into the year. Brought in Zay Flowers and Odell to help the passing game. Lamar, he obviously got paid, so he's now the franchise guy for the foreseeable future. J.K. Dobbins is fully healthy, so I'm expecting big things from him as well. And this Ravens team, they were really good last year. Lamar got hurt, and Huntley had to play a playoff game, and it kind of fizzled out at the end of the year. So I'm hoping this team can kind of go through the same thing, and then we really get to see what Lamar can do in the playoffs. 8 are the Los Angeles Chargers. Kellen Moore comes in from Dallas to help Herbert air out the ball. And last year, their concern was kind of wide receiver health, getting Keenan Allen and Mike Williams banged up almost every week. Gerald Everett became the guy that was very reliable in this offense. but they also added rookie wide receiver Quentin Johnston from TCU to be that third receiver that can be healthy and have more weapons on the field. Eckler, obviously looking for a new contract, didn't get one, but he's in his last year, so he could walk after this year. So this team kind of has a lot kind of riding on this season. And, after last year's playoff blunder, they really want to turn the page on that and really step up and possibly get back to where they were. 7 are the Jaguars. This team, to me, is on paper one of the dark horses to win a Super Bowl. And I say that because of Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, going into his third year, really his second year, in my opinion, where he's getting developed. Under Urban Meyer, he didn't really look like the Trevor Lawrence we all knew. But then when Doug Peterson took over last year, he just instantly became that guy. And he also gets Calvin Ridley back, who's from his year suspension. Very quick receiver. Him out wide with Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and even Evan Ingram off a career year. This Jaguars offense can be very good, even when ETN is running the ball too. They're in the weakest division in the NFL in the AFC South, so they should breeze to another division title and exceed that 10-win mark. 6 are the Dallas Cowboys. And a lot of people lately have been saying, is this, if Dak doesn't lead him to the NFC Championship, is he gone? Is McCarthy gone? And I don't like that at all, because if you're me, I get that the Cowboys haven't won a championship in a while, and Cowboys fans want a Super Bowl every year, but you got to take your small victories. Dak's got them to the playoffs every year. And, maybe it's not the result you wanted, but you'd rather have a quarterback get you there every year than take a chance on a flyer and don't even make the playoffs. It's going to be them and the Eagles for the division title. I think the Cowboys win the division this year, so they get a home playoff game. I just see this team having big things. Brandon Cooks is an underrated addition in the offseason, really bringing in a veteran presence to the wide receiver room and reliability. And then Tony Pollard now finally gets the keys to the running back 1 status, and he is expected to have a big year. But once again, it's all going to rely on this team in the playoffs. And if Dak does struggle early on, maybe we do hear the Trey Lance chant. 5 are the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, yet again, is going to have to carry this team. The defense, so-so. Dalton Kincaid gave him another weapon in the offense, but really nothing too much changed with this Bills team. Von Miller is expected back sooner rather than later. And when he's back, obviously the Bills defense last year was very good. And then when he was out, then the Bills just didn't look the same. And, through all the adversity they went through last year, expect this Bills team to be ready to go. 4 are the San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy is now quarterback 1, and that's going to be for the foreseeable future after they traded away Lance, got rid of Garoppolo, and now Sam Darnold is the backup. So Kyle Shanahan could look like a genius, or this could be one of his few mistakes if it doesn't work out. But for me, is this window closing for the 49ers? They have McCaffrey. He's a little older. I mean, obviously, he's still one of the best players in football, but you got to start looking at it in the long run. Kittle's older. Debo's older. They need some young talent. Ayuk, he's young, but how long is he going to be a 49er? And they might have to do some major roster hauling after maybe this year or next year if this Niner team wants to compete still. 3 are the Cincinnati Bengals. After a great year last year, losing to the Chiefs in the playoffs hurts. So now they're looking to run it back and possibly get to that same spot as they did last year. This could, speaking of last year's, this could also be Joe Mixon and T. Higgins last year. They're going to have to pay one of those 2 guys, and I think it's going to be Higgins rather than Mixon. And I've been hearing a few rumors that Burrow could be signing his extension before this game Sunday. And if he does, then Burrow is going to get whatever he wants. He wants Chase and Higgins to stay. So those 2 guys, you can bet, will be a Bengal for a very long time. At 2 are the Philadelphia Eagles. Unfortunately, they lost in the Super Bowl last year to the Chiefs on the pass interference call. So be it. It could have been flagged, shoulda, coulda, woulda. They didn't win, but they got there under Jalen Hurts, and Hurts solidified being that guy. And what did they do this offseason? Well, they lost Shane Steichen to Indy. So now they have a new offensive coordinator, but I don't think that's really going to matter too much because they're not going to change that much. The only thing they changed on their team was getting rid of Miles Sanders. He shipped him off to Carolina. They brought in DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny, and they also have Kenneth Gainwell in the backfield as well. And I think you could have a interchangeable platoon, if you want to say, running back room. One guy could go off one week and then instantly it could be another guy. And that's what makes the Eagles so good. Their defense as well. The defensive line, Mac Jones said, were some dogs up front. And I mean, I wouldn't want to play against that if I was in the NFL. The defensive line is scary. Middle linebackers and corners outside is a good defense. And I think there's no way you can deny that either the Niners or the Eagles have the best defense in football. At one, of course, you have the Super Bowl champions. Their biggest concern right now, I would have said if I was making this yesterday on Tuesday, not Travis Kelce, that's for sure. Kelce now hyperextended his knee, still questionable for tomorrow's game Thursday, and for possibly out for the foreseeable future. But if Kelsey's out, then you got to look at the young wide receiver room. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is the only player other than Travis Kelce on this team with over 100 receptions. Kadarius Toney, he's banged up at least a few times, and you got a lot of young guys. So Mahomes could be throwing to a bunch of guys that aren't really having that NFL experience yet. Obviously, they lost Juju as well to New England. Mahomes is going to Mahomes, though. I don't think it matters at the end of the day. Rashee Rice, Justin Ross are going to be some guys that you're going to want to watch out for. And the only thing for me is their defense. Is their defense going to be able to stand all these good teams in the AFC? And now, even the Lions, week one is going to be a tough test for them as the Lions love to score. But that's going to be it for the preseason power rankings. Make sure you guys come back next week to check out who's moving up and who's moving down after week one of the NFL. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.